Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1044 of One Piece. Yes, guys, it's finally here. After a 1 week break, we are finally here. Speaking of a 1 week break, I'm actually kind of livid and annoyed right now because I don't know why, where I heard it, what I was thinking at all, but for some reason I thought there was going to be a 2 week hiatus, and I had this incredible ideas, to get with these two other YouTubers. They're up and coming and talk about, the chapter 1043 and like before, and like predictions and like theories of what's going to happen in 1044 and just about the series as a whole. And my viewers, as limited as they are, we're gonna get a whole week to like ruminate about it, think about it and stuff like that. And then I discover, chapter is actually coming out this week, and so I record it. We have a great recording session. My stuff goes perfectly, doesn't crash. Trying to get it edited, my editor's internet conks out, so I have to go find a new editor. The new editor, while he's trying to process the video, it's not processing. Long story short, the video I was trying to have to you guys by like this morning, which would have already still been late, I am currently right now, while recording this video, in the process of uploading it and processing it on YouTube. So a little annoyed about that. Honestly, this was something that was very exciting and important to me, and the fact that it didn't take off honestly bothers me a lot. But we're not going to cry over spilt milk and all that. We're going to move on. If you do get a chance, I would greatly appreciate it if you checked it out. I think it was a phenomenal conversation. Tyrant King Kuma is a phenomenal YouTuber, and I think you guys will get some enjoyment, entertainment value out of it. So give it a look. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right, everyone. Chapter 1044. We have been waiting for this forever. Warrior of Liberation. And can I tell you, this was the hype shit. I know I've said that before, but this really was the hype shit. It was really worthy of a hiatus. I understand why Oda did it. It was crazy. So before we even get into the actual chapter, let's just talk about the cover page, okay? Cover page actually has me very worried. So it looks like Oven has dropped off, the Vinsmokes off at Whole Cake Chateau, and he kind of is doing like, all right, peace, I'm out kind of thing. Now, I originally thought, hey, they're gonna get stored in that little Mont Blanc's library or whatever, and they're just gonna be held prisoner, captive there until, I assumed, I was about to say Smoothie, Pudding saved them, right? Does not look like the case. We see three scientists. We see the main one, who I assume is the main one. He just gives off mad scientist vibes, to be with you. In the middle, we see this one in a dress to the side. Must be some kind of octopus smile user, possibly. I don't know, but Big Mom Pirates don't really have smile users, so maybe hybrid octopus fruit something. And then my favorite character design of the four people on the panel is the one on the far left. He looks like something from like a different like manga or anime almost, but I am extremely nervous. I'm wondering if they're going to take them apart, trying to reverse engineer them, figure out the science behind them. And I guarantee you, next cover story, we're going to see them being rescued. Also, who is this adorable but scary little girl in the middle? Kind of looks like she could be like Ulti's little sister or something like that with the mask on. Yeah, this looks tremendously terrifying. I love, like, they're starting evil at a young age with this little girl. And yeah, this cover art, this cover story, I should say, very ominous. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, so we left off last chapter with, Luffy gooping, Luffy dripping, and, it sent the online community into an uproar. Everyone was theorizing, everyone was predicting. I know I personally was checking out my favorite YouTubers. I know other people were all up on Reddit reading, all up on Reddit posting, making their own theory videos and all this stuff. And so we finally hear, we hear Luffy, and he's like, what's happening? How can I stand? And it's weird because you know how Oda has always said Luffy, the community has always talked about how Luffy doesn't get thought bubbles and stuff like that because he doesn't really think so much, and like what he has on his mind, he just kind of says, he kind of blurts out. So I found it interesting that a lot of this chapter just has him like kind of, well, maybe I'm misinterpreting the thought bubbles. Maybe they're not thought bubbles. Maybe they're just him speaking out loud, but there's no arrow because he's off the panel. I think it's just that. But he says a line that's like, I just lost, but I feel like I'm having a blast. And he's just laughing. So he's definitely awakened. Something definitely has transformed in him. And, you know, we hear Luffy is Joy Boy. Apparently Zunisha has just said that. Now, what that means, what the ramifications of that is, what the implications of that is, we don't quite know yet. Quite so far in this chapter so far. We're gonna get there because it starts to get loony at the end of this chapter, and you'll see why I use that specific word there, loony, because shit does get crazy. So let's just, you know, see where everyone else is at the moment. We have, you know, Momo and Yamato are together. They're just finding out, just realizing that, you know, all right, Luffy is safe, but also they're getting the revelation that he is Joy Boy. We move to the pleasure hall, and my boy has been apparently medically treated by one of the, you know, I keep saying prostitutes. I feel like that's offensive. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep saying prostitutes. One of the prostitutes, the geisha, if you will. They had another name, I forgot it. And I just thought, you know what's funny? Even though this whole situation is very serious, I couldn't help but thinking about, like, poor Sanji. Like, he was getting like bandaged and taken care of by like an Oiran. There we go. I remember the word. An Oiran, and didn't even really get to like enjoy it, right? So I just thought that was hilarious. But like, you can just tell like this is how serious he is. There's a beautiful woman in front of him. He doesn't even care. He's like, what's going on with Luffy? The fact that he's been woken up kind of tells me that maybe like the Conqueror's haki, or the presence or the voice that Luffy is currently giving off at this moment, is just so loud and just so vast and so powerful that like everyone in the like area is just feeling it. We see on the live floor Kid looking up, we see Law looking up, we see Hyogoro looking up. You know, Marco tells everyone, well, not everyone, he tells Otama and Nami that Straw Hat is okay, to which they are ecstatic, they are crying, they are happy about it. Once again, can we give an honorable shout out to my girl Nami for, you know, never believing, staying 10 toes down, being like, my nigga Luffy could never die, you a goddamn liar. I love that. That was dope, Nami. And like, everyone loves Nami. Nami's always been a cool character. Like, it's one of those things where like I don't really dislike any of the Straw Hats, but there are Straw Hats I care about more than others. And Nami I've only really cared about in like conjunction to Luffy and like her backstory and like the things Luffy has done for her. But her as a person, I'm just like, it's Nami. But like in this moment, like I've always respected Nami, but I just had, there was just another layer that was added there. So I was really thankful for that scene, right? So after all these people find out about, you know, Luffy being resurrected, coming back, not being dead, whatever you want to call it, which by the way, I'm sticking to my assertion before that Luffy was dead. I do believe he was dead, but I think it was akin to the kind of the death that Enel had, where his heart stopped. Like, being dead doesn't mean like you're like dead, like you're completely deceased. I think, you know, maybe his heart did stop, maybe for a portion or second of time, like something did happen where Luffy was not of this plane anymore for a second, but he was brought back, right? I do think it was along the line. So I think it's very accurate. If people choose to say Luffy died on the roof or something like that, I don't think there should be any like, you know, contention about that. If you want to argue semantics, feel free for it. But I think it's kind of implied with the fact that last time Luffy was knocked unconscious, his you know, his presence could still be felt, his voice was still there, he could still glare at Kaido kind of subconsciously, and the fact that his voice was completely annihilated and replaced I think something did happen there. All right. And so anyway, back to what I was saying, we go back to Mary Joie and we have the Gorosei talking, right? And they are talking about how this whole situation is problematic, how they lost one of their best agents, and not only that, but they've enraged Kaido, and they're asking themselves, hey, was this worth it? Like, was this possible calamity that we may have brought upon ourselves worth it? And they're telling, and then we get the most incredible reveal, and we find out that, first of all right, well, hold on. So we find out that the Gomu Gomu is actually a mythical Zoan called the Hito Hito no Mi human fruit model Nika. I literally did not see this coming, could not have seen this coming. It was never on my list of things. Like, the closest thing I ever thought it could be was maybe secretly a Logia, secretly he was a special paramecia. I never in my days could have seen it as a Zoan. Honestly, I still do have some issues with it being a Zoan, namely the transformations and stuff like that. But I'll either get to that in a different video or maybe at the end of this video. I think a different video, because that's not what I want to focus on in this video. But that was crazy to me. But something they said that was interesting was that Zoan fruits have a will of their own. And I thought that was crazy. And also I kind of slapped myself. I was like, that makes sense, because every time on this channel where I've talked about, the devil fruits possibly, containing people's wills, I said, I talked about the gun that ate the dog fruit. And then we talked about Funkfried, the sword that ate the elephant fruit. And I was like, how are they able to, how do they have autonomy? Where does their autonomy come from? And every time I talked about that, I brought up specifically Zoans. And so I never once thought it was native to Zoans. I just thought it was coincidence that my examples were that of Zoans. And it kind of made sense that it had to be Zoans, because, if a sword ate the Mera no Mi, like, how would it be able to turn itself on, off, all those things? So there were a lot of, I can't think of the word. I hate when I lose words, but there was a lot going on with that theory. But I'm also still really confused of what was going on with Sabo when he was like, I can hear Ace, I can feel Ace. So I'm like, because that made me think, okay, wills are also in like all the fruits, right? So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm definitely gonna like make a note to like talk about that. So we're definitely gonna talk about Zoan fruits, Luffy's transformations, and we're also gonna talk about the fact that, like, are Zoan fruits the only ones with wills? I mean, I think it's kind of obvious at this point. Also, something else that they said that I found very interesting, very intriguing, was the fact that they said it's almost as if the fruit was evading us. Sorry. Also, something else very interesting that they said in this was, it's almost as if the fruit itself was evading us. And I was like, well, how can a fruit do that? We have never, ever seen any sign, any inclination of the devil fruits having any autonomy in devil fruit form, being able to move. Closest we've seen is when a devil fruit user dies and then it inhabits the nearest fruit, but we've never seen, the devil fruits act on their own. So who the hell knows? And also, it brings a lot of theories and questions up as to, like, was Luffy eating the fruit an accident? Maybe it called out to him. Maybe he started to tell me, like, eat me. We know Luffy was like, I was hungry, and it's very similar to like Ace. If you read the Ace side story and stuff like that, it was a similar thing where, like, they were just hungry, right? And he just happened to eat the Mera no Mi, like, maybe a second faster than Mass Deuce, right? So we're getting so much lore, and I'm kind of hoping that we're finally getting to a point where eventually Vegapunk has to show up, because with all these reveals, the reveal of the Gomu Gomu and like the Zoan devil fruit having a will and everything going on, it is about goddamn time we finally find out the nature of the devil fruits and what exactly they are and how exactly they work, because like we have to get there at this point. I am not necessarily upset about this, but I do have questions, and I'm not just gonna kind of take this at face value. How the hell does the sun god Nika mythical Zoan fruit make your body rubber? Now, I'm going to assume we've talked about how, you know, devil fruits have been concepts before, right? I'm going to assume that, you know, maybe the most synonymous concept that can relate to freedom is that of, you know, elasticity, tenacity, being able to, you know, bounce back and stuff like that. But you think it would be something that could stretch infinitely, right? Not quite, like, because returning back to your shape isn't quite freedom. It's being stuck within your form. Like when you punch with rubber or like snap a rubber band, it returns to its form. So that's kind of like not what I think about freedom, but I just feel like I'm overthinking it at this point. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. But it says that its user gains the properties of rubber in combat, which why did they say in combat? Like, he has it outside of combat. He has it at all times. So I'm curious about that. They're supposedly only limited by their imagination, putting smiles on faces far and wide. They are the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. So very, very, very curious about all of that, what that means, implications, ramifications of all that. We're further told that the awakening strengthens their rubbery body and they have even more freedom, which, by the way, when I was theorizing and saying maybe it's there's a potential for it to be the freedom fruit, maybe I to this day still think like Long Ring Longland, where I really truly believe that an awakened devil fruit user of the Nika no Mi, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika did that to them. Like, it's talking about freedom, it's talking about being able to expand and become more rubbery, right? So it's starting to pan out that maybe some of the things that happen, maybe the stretching of the red line, so many things that have happened in this series may have come from the initial awakening of this fruit. Also, there's a line where they say that this is the most ridiculous power in the world, and at the time I read that and I just thought that like it meant it was OP as hell, which it is, but when I actually saw what and how it was being used, I was like, no, yeah, this is ridiculous. Was the word. Ridiculous was the best, most all-encompassing like form of like what the hell is going on right now. All right, so after all that hype shit, Oda decides, all right guys, I don't want you guys to have the seizure, I don't want you guys to pass out, let's take a little break, let's segue real quick. All right, let me let you digest this and let's wrap up what's going on with you know, Komurasaki aka Hiyori and Orochi, right? And so Orochi, like the pathetic, vile thing he is begging and pleading for his life. And honestly, I have zero sympathy for him. Don't feel bad. I do kind of wish that there was some kind of, there's a lot of themes in One Piece, and sometimes I feel like they must absolutely be addressed or be addressed my way. And I know I'm not the author and I know I don't know what's best, but I'm just telling you how I feel. And it was bothering me that, you know, at the end of the day, Orochi is a product of a disgustingly malicious and vicious cycle. And it's not necessarily his fault that he came up this way, but, you know, he didn't have to come up this way. This series shows us numerous times that there are people that can be put through the same circumstances. Best example, Doflamingo and Corazon. Same situations, exactly, completely different people. So despite what happened to him, despite what happened to his clan, Orochi didn't have to behave in this manner, and that's why I have little sympathy for him. But I was kind of hoping Oda would kind of have some kind of theme here, maybe some form of forgiveness, maybe like some kind of reconciliation, because it is kind of screwed up that, you know, they basically his clan went through like a culling essentially. And, you know, he's kind of rightfully upset. Now, did he have the right to subjugate others to the misery and misfortune that he subjected them to? Of fucking course not. But he was right to be upset, and I think we all have to acknowledge that to a certain degree. Anyway, he is just disgustingly begging for his life, you know, throwing it all on Kaido, acting like a complete simp. He's like, you spat on the and she's not buying it. She's like, you spat on the face of samurai you owed. Who would believe you? And, you know, she brings up the fact that like her father did everything that he promised. He danced like a fool for years because we had a gentleman's agreement that wasn't honored. He boiled in a pot of boiling oil for an hour because of a promise, because of he's that type of man, right? And you know, you betrayed him. So I totally get Hiyori just being like, nah, I ain't with the shits. Like, I'm not gonna hear anything you have to say. Like, your end is coming now, right? And I kind of felt bad because there's a part where she's like, my father was a man who kept his word. But I was like, part of me like turned into like villain OD mode. And I was like, your father was kind of a head ass. Your father was dumb. Like, I know that's fucked up of me to say. So, like, be mad at me all you want, but like, it's the truth. Like, you knew these guys were up to no good. You knew they were scumbags. It's like me meeting a sketchy dude and being like, you know, it's like when I'm Nigerian, right? And I hate these jokes, but I'm going to use them because I'm Nigerian. I'm allowed to. It's like when a Nigerian prince messages you on email and says, I'm a Nigerian prince, but like, I don't have access to my funds. If you give me like $10,000, I'll make sure to give you like 100,000. I don't know how the scams work, bro. I don't know how the scams work. And you do that shit. You deserve it.
Please get what you fucking deserve.
Like, I'm not victim blaming. I mean, okay, I am. But like, you deserve it. Like, you knew better. You should know better. And I feel like Oden should have known better. I feel like, you know, I don't know. If Orochi was an actual villain with any kind of balls, I feel like at this moment he should have been like, your father was a bitch. Like, your father was a pussy. Like, your father was an idiot. Like, that would have been great. But honestly, he's at a point where he's begging for his life, so he's not gonna do that. But I just love how she talks about the fact that he withstood all of it. He never even told his family. He didn't care. As long as his family had his back and as long as the bills was gonna be fine, he was gonna take this sacrifice. He was gonna take this L. And once again, just pour one out for the homie that is Oden. You know, he was that dude, right? And so something that really pissed me off and like made me geek the fuck out was the fact that here, I have to find the exact line. Because it honestly pissed me off. See, all right, here it is. He says, seeking revenge is a dated ideology, you know. What in the hypocrite? Bro, when he said that, I was like, you raggedy, trifling ass bitch. Like, your whole life, your whole existence has been for nothing for revenge. What you have Kanjuro doing, his dying will, is based upon revenge. You're getting revenge for your ancestors, right? And you're saying it's a dated ideology when like your whole life has been tantamount to that, and that you planned on when you died taking this country down with you, but you have the audacity to tell someone else, no, revenge. Like, it's like someone who bullies you, bullying you all your life. And then, you know, you hit the gym, you know, you lift some weights, you come back to them, you know, you learn Taekwondo, you go back and you're beating on their ass. And they're like, violence isn't the answer. Bitch, you don't miss me with that shit. So yeah, that was kind of nutty. That was insane to me. So the next thing that happens confuses the mess out of me, right? So we finally see Orochi's true colors because we see the Kazembo show up. I don't know whether to call it the Kazembo at this point or Kanjuro, because it seems to be maybe one and the same, and it's just like, I'm done, this is like my last ember, it's like, it's futile. Which, by the way, how did they were if he went to the basement, how did he crawl back? But we're not going to talk about that. And you know, Orochi immediately is like, perfect, burn her, blah blah blah, yada yada. And the most confusing thing happens. The Kazembo or Kanjuro jumps on Orochi and burns him alive, which, by the way, kind of anticlimactic. I was kind of hoping for a defeat that involved like cutting off, like finding a secret. Like, are we just not gonna find out how the Yamato no Orochi works? We're just not gonna find out. I mean, okay, fine, whatever, but like, okay, fine, whatever. That's like, I guess that's what I have to say. But like, what made the Kazembo do that? Because like the first thing that jumped to my mind was, did maybe it's one of those things where Oda foreshadowed or said something in an earlier chapter where it's like, we're gonna die together, and now that like, you know, Kanjuro is done, now that he's dying, he's like, okay, now is the time where we die together. Maybe Kanjuro, after all of this, has seen that, you know, like the kind of person Orochi is and like the lies he tells to take him out. I have no clue. This is like, I know I say this a lot, but literally please in the comments, let me know your theories, let me know your thoughts, because, you know, I don't, sometimes I scan like Reddit and like see what other people say, but for the most part I come up with all my thoughts and ideas on the rip right now. Like right now you can see me scrolling because I just had to get this review out. But yeah, what the hell was that about? Why did he take Orochi out with him? Do you think Orochi is dead at this point? But yeah, that was a really powerful scene. I forgot to talk about when she took off her mask and she was crying. That was deep. I really can't wait to see, you know, the aftermath of this section, right? Also, last chapter, how we talked about burning is like not a noble way to go. We have him burning to death. So kind of love it. And it's kind of poetic justice, irony that, you know, Oden was forced to boil and died, and now the person that like kind of caused it, you know, it was Kaido too, but also, you know, meeting a similar fate. It's kismet. I fuck with it. I like it. Hats off to Oda. But anyway, back to what we all really care about this chapter. Luffy goes gear 5th. Oh my god, I lost my shit. For the longest time we have been speculating whether it was going to be Awakening, whether it was going to be gear 5th, maybe gear 5th was going to be you know, a combination of Conqueror's Haki and the rest of his gears, or you know, or if it was going to be Awakening. We finally have a definitive answer. It is gear 5th, and Luffy is going crazy. He is going bonkers. He is going crazy out here. He is releasing so much Conqueror's Haki, it is just knocking people out left and right. They cannot take it. And I love when Kaido looks up and he's like, what the hell is on the roof? You just see his eyes straight, like freaking out, like he knows something terrifying has just transpired. And he is like, when you see someone on the power scale and level of Kaido panicking, you better goddamn panic. You know what I mean? So he immediately heads to the roof to find out what's happening, and literally just this giant arm comes out and grabs this man's, I don't know what part of a dragon is the neck. I was gonna say neck, and I kind of also want to make a choking the dragon joke, right? So his hand comes out, he's choking the dragon, things are going insane, right? And we see Luffy, and he is just kirking out. He is on his Popeyes with the spinach meets Hulk shit, just absolutely dominating Kaido. And we just keep seeing these form changes. Like 1 minute Luffy is skinny, 1 minute his arm is big, 1 minute he's huge, right? He's out here spinning Kaido around. And also something I want to say, because there are so many cartoon physics logic things going on, I don't think this is the Hito no Mi model Nika. This is the fucking Looney Tunes goddamn fruit, because
Don't sneeze, you stupid dragon, or you'll blow us to the moon! Dragons is so stupid.
they are using some Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, like Daffy, like logic, like Kaido's eyes are coming out, and I don't think that's like a thing like Oda is doing for like effect, like oh my god, like because we've seen it before, like when he does the eye bulging out thing, like it's always attached. The eyes are literally out at this point. And my thing is, like, I feel like Luffy's awakening is causing his ability and the absurdity of his ability to spread out and affect like other things and other beings. And the reason I say that is because there's a moment where I believe Luffy's eyes do the exact same thing. Like
Oh, beat it, boys. You bother me.
like that's what's happening right now. Like I really feel like anything can happen at this point. Like, you know, when they have those black dots and they're on the, like, there's a hole in the floor and they can pick it up and then put the black dot on like a wall and then like travel, like, it just seems like physics is broken, the world is broken at this moment, and Luffy is enjoying the hell out of this power. He feels great. He's out here Hulk smashing, slamming Kaido side to side. You know, Kaido fights back a little bit. He shoots a Boro blast at Luffy. Luffy's like playing around. It looks like, at first I was confused. I thought the panels were like flipped and reversed. I was super confused, but no, apparently he's just like messing around, laughing on the ground, looks up and is like, whoa, which gave me honestly total like The Mask vibes. This feels like the Looney Tunes meets The Mask, like agent / god of chaos type shit is like what's happening right now. And he sees that, and he sees the Boro blast coming, and he grabs the ground, and you can see from like where his fingers are, like the ground is like malleable some way. It's like malleable in some form, and he brings up the ground. So I think that answers our question as to the fact that it seems as though he is able to affect his surroundings as well. On top of that, I think he's able to change the properties of his surrounding, because it's not something that happens where it blocked the blast and then like got destroyed. It ricocheted the blast back at Kaido. It ricocheted it back, and that's not something that would happen if, you know, if it was like, if he turned the ground itself to rubber itself. I think he is just able to apply whatever cartoon logic and physics this is to his combat right now. And I don't know, I think this is just more than turning things into rubber. It's turning them into like these cartoon Toon World like physics feats at this point. And so we finally see Luffy in his entirety. Like, his face is covered, but like his hair is fire. He has the kind of the god little like thing he had in Gear 4th and stuff like that, but he looks awesome. I am kind of curious about why when we last saw him he was droopy. It's not droopy anymore, it's fire. I'm very curious about that. But
oh, so something I forgot to say on my regular recording was Luffy did say something while he was in Gear 5th that kind of perturbed me, that kind of bothered me, that didn't really seem like something Luffy that I know would say. And he says that this is my peak, this is Gear 5th. And I don't know, is that not a little weird, like, for Luffy to admit that he has a peak? Like, the kind of character and personality that I always see Luffy as is being limitless, right? And especially with what this awakening seems to be and having ridiculous power, it kind of seems as though like he should have no limits. And when you hit a peak, that means that it goes no higher. And so as hype as that line might make some people, it makes me a little apprehensive. Like, what do you mean this is your peak? This is the best you'll ever get? And you have to remember, at this point in the story, you know, we're just at Kaido. We still have to deal with Shanks if that altercation between Luffy and Shanks will happen. I'm not saying it won't be friendly, but like there might be something there. The fight between Luffy and Blackbeard, you know, we still have that. The fight against the world government, the fight against Eam. Like, Eam has to have some kind of countermeasure, some contingency against, you know, the awakening of Joy Boy, right? So for him to say this is his peak, it's kind of offsetting, a bit perturbing, and it also doesn't seem like something that's in Luffy's vocabulary, right? To say that he's hit his peak. So I just wanted to bring attention to that. Also, the other thing I want to say was, a lot of people have said, you know, with the rooftop fight and everything that's been happening, it feels like we're finally in the end game, like we're in the end game. Like, no. This right now, this chapter right here, now it feels like we're in the end game.
yeah, man, this chapter was bonkers. And I love how, like, after getting like the snot beat out of him, he's like, hey man, sorry about that idiot before. I didn't want to win like that. Like, he's apologizing, like, got his ass beat. And like Luffy's like, I don't give a fuck, don't sweat it, let's fight. And let's finish this. And that is so hard. And I'm wondering, honestly, I really want to know what is transpiring in Kaido's head right now. Like, if next chapter isn't a Kaido flashback, I'm going to flip my shit, because I'm going to tell you right now, we're probably not going to get a lot more of this fight. Like, this was Oda like letting us bust after a week of hiatus. He finally let us bust. Now he's gonna, he's got to tease us again. He's got to work the shaft a little bit. Got to get us back up, right? And I think we're gonna get, some background. We're gonna get some flashbacks with Kaido, learn more about what he's heard, or the myth from his perspective about Nika. But I love how I said my laptop is about to die, and then right on cue my camera died, not my laptop. Total Oda shit. That's how Oda works. He red herrings you. He fucks you up like that. But I'm gonna leave this review here for now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I vastly under-analyze this, and when I say that, I just feel like there's so much more that happened in this chapter to go over. But I think this is just one of those things where, like, after the initial read, I need to digest it and just go back over all of it. Maybe I'll do another League of Otaku, a better one, where we can talk about everything that transpired. But like, this is honestly insane, and the ramifications of everything that's happening, especially with not only Luffy being able to freely change his form in any way, shape, or form. Like, there are several panels where he literally has a different form. Like, his torso is big, his legs are big, his one hand is big. Like, I think that means something. And I remember, like, I've been going on this tirade, right? This rampant tirade about Samaya Kiken and all that stuff. And I really think that, like, this is kind of relevant to it, the biofeedback, right? I think that it's all culminating into, like, what Luffy is now, and I think we're about to see disgusting feats from Luffy, disgusting moves, him being able to freely change and dodge stuff by changing his size, his mass, making weapons out of his fist. I just want to see it. I'm at a point where I don't care about, like, theorizing, predicting, or any of that stuff. I literally just want to see what Oda has to show me, and that's that. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your boy OD. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment. Like, literally, please leave a comment. Like, I'm trying to talk to all of you. Any questions you have, any questions you can answer for me, let's get into it. Anyway, peace, take care. Adios.